What's that? 4 videos in a row? One every day, you say? I'm trying. I'm not the greatest at this, but I'm trying. We've grabbed another replay pack from the Wardy cast replay pack. I guess he sends out, I don't know what the official title of it is, but if you subscribe to Wardy, you get access to these replays. This is another match from Masters Coliseum. And real quick, guys, if you want to see me keep up this pacing, you want to see more videos daily opposed to just once every little while, consider checking out the Patreon, or just leave comments, likes, all that good YouTube-y stuff, so that I know that you're watching these videos, and more importantly, that you actually want more. But without further ado, we spawn into Acropolis for this TVP. To the bottom right, we have the blue Protoss, Hero. His opponent to the upper left-hand side will, of course, be the red Terran Fantasy. And one of our previous casts from the same replay pack we grabbed, Fantasy defeated Rogue, and I guess advanced on to whatever stage of the tournament this was to get here against Hero. Now, cards on the table. I have not followed Masters Coliseum too closely. I don't know the results. I don't even know the format of this, but I saw some good replays. It's some of your favorite Koreans, and I figured, you know what? It gives me a reason to shout out Wardy and let you guys know about his content packs if you want access to those. So, without further ado, we see Hero, of course, not staying at home, but instead venturing over to the other side of the field with a pylon on proxy. He's giving all Protoss out there a bad rap. But this is also a map that has very limited scouting. You can see there's already an SCV going across the map. The Reaper will be sure to follow, but there's only one path up into the main base outside of the main entrance. And these arrows, of course, are the big indicator to let you know where this Reaper can path, and Hero has blocked this out pretty successfully. So on the upside, if he wants to really focus on denying scouting, it will not be too difficult for him. All he has to do is keep an eye out over here because of the limited spots Reaper can hop up to the main base. But I don't think he's too worried about that. Bold and brazen, Stargate goes down on the other side of the field, and Fantasy pops into the base, and one of the biggest red flags. This is the most basic of basic. You see, there's no second pylon. There's no Nexus. There's a lot of warning signs saying Hero's up to something. Fantasy just doesn't know exactly what. Now, he didn't stick around long enough to see the Nexus, and that Reaper's busy looking around for the proxy pylon, so I don't know if he'll get to scout the base being taken or not. The other problem for Fantasy, if you quickly check his vision, is he did look around some of the more common locations for proxies of any variety, not knowing what exactly is going down. He does place a bunker. Nice pick off on the probe, by the way. I like the pick off on the, or I like the bunker for multiple reasons, because your front will usually be exposed, because if it is a Stargate, and it is an Oracle, and it is Phoenix, or whatever the case may be, typically there are stalkers or adepts trying to get through the front of the base simultaneously. At least that's most conventional attacks, but keep in mind this isn't so conventional, what with this being proxied. Now, for those who haven't been super in the loop with StarCraft 2, there was a big change a while back. Oracles now take 3 shots to kill most Terran things. This was the relief of all Terran, who were just getting massacred early on. This has led to a little bit of an interesting way to handle your Oracles. The first one goes in. If it sees that there's not too much, it could actually pick off what few defenders there are. But already there's a missile turret that's been started, and while it does take 3 shots, it still kills pretty quick, so a couple of these SCVs get zapped down right fast. Fantasy as well skipped past the factory in favor of getting a second barracks down, whether this was reactionary or his plan all along. Either way, he does have stim on the way, and he should have plenty of production to deal with the Oracles. I think you only need 5 or 6 Marines to really safely push this off. Not to mention any kind of follow-up from Adepts or otherwise. But this Reaper on the other side of the map does finally get that scout. He confirms. Oh, hold the phone. No, he doesn't confirm the Nexus. This could be a problem. On one side of this, Fantasy has already got a bunker down. He's got a lot of Marines. He's going to have a lot of production. And frankly, anything early thrown at him should be dealt with. The beauty of having this much production coming out of Marines is there's no amount of overwhelming odds you're going to fight against, especially with how well he handled the first Oracle. The downside, though, is he does have to play a little bit of a very strong guessing game in terms of, is this an all-in out of Hero or not? Not having scouted the Nexus helps kind of really sell the tale of this game for Hero, and leaves a question for Fantasy. I was going to say we may see him scan, but he ends up dropping mules instead. Perhaps just confident in his read that the follow-up to this, excuse me, would not be something gross like my cough just now, and more importantly, not an all-in. Hero, on the other hand, is getting away with 3 bases, so expands a lot here. The Oracle comes across the map. It'll keep these boys distracted. There are Marines in the mineral lines, the bunker, and of course in the main. There's not really a lot of openings in. Oh, this Oracle is going to get picked off. Nice grab out of the Marines. Fantasy shutting that down will also deny scouting for the time being. Now, of course, Hero could always make another Oracle if he really needs to, but Fantasy is not, it's not Hero that's in the dark about what's going on. He's had very consistent and very constant scouting across Fantasy's bases, so he knows about the earlier production. He knows about the later factory, and consequently, he knows that there's going to be a much later starport. So no need to worry about Liberators or medevac drops too soon, but of course, eventually. And that's part of why he was able to safely expand to this third base. This wasn't a risky move or him being too greedy. He just read the situation well and realized, oh, there's an opportunity to get away with this. So as this third Nexus completes here soon, Blink's almost done as well. This many Stalkers isn't going to be able to A-move into an army of Marines that are soon to have +1 and Marauder assistance, but they are going to be able to harass, pick off, bleed out a couple of Marines while they retreat across the field. If you've seen TVP, you've seen this a million times. And if you've experienced it, I'm so sorry if you're the Terran. But for Hero, bit of a fake aggression outside the front of the base. Reminder, this has no Warp Prism. This has no immediate pylons. This is not something he's going to commit to, nor can he commit to. But he does poke in, uses Blink to his advantage, does lose one of the Stalkers, a little bit of miscontrol there, but grabs 2 SCVs and several off of mining. Double Medevac's now looking to go around the map. Of course, he knows about this, so he has to dodge out the Stargate. Doesn't want to get scouted with this. Hero will not see this coming right away. A really important factor here is the +1 weapons. Fantasy's got Stim. He's soon to have combat shields. In fact, there should be plenty finish in time for the drop. Any kind of commitment he wants to do, though, is going to be a little bit difficult, unless, of course, you've got a damage advantage through said weapons. However, Fantasy is going to be coming up against here, who's chronoing out armor, so those weapons will be kind of negligible. Not to mention you add a Guardian Shield to the mix, and those Marines are pretty hard to kill. And having been scouted already, he just decides to unload preemptively and say, screw it. Grabs that pylon and realizes there isn't a lot of opportunity for him here. The south side, he sends those Marines out and he realizes there's an Adept that scouts him coming. He is slowly, emphasis here on slowly, but he is slowly taking out that pylon as well, so there's not going to be a forward reinforcement point. That is kind of a complacent thing we'll see pros get a bit lazy with from time to time. It can bite them in the butt, but not this game, and not for Fantasy. As the Stalkers give chase to the middle of the map, whether it's 1 Marauder, 2 Marauders, couple Marines, they don't have to win a fight, they just have to harass. While this goes on, of course, Hero's been given plenty of time to finish up things like Charge. Now done. Chrono Boost going down on double forges for double upgrades. Something he can afford off of 3 bases like this. A scan ahead to see what the army looks like defensively at home, and with those sentries scouted, I don't know if he'll want to walk into the base or not. Either way, Hero, excellent economy, pretty good tech. His army supply, though, a little bit on the low side. His economy, though, it's 65 probes. I mean, he's going to be able to take a 4th if he'd like to. Although, I think at this stage of the game, it might be better to put more focus on the army. Fantasy does not have his own 3rd base set up just yet, but it's on the way. More Marauders and Widowmines rally in. The Widowmines are going to be really difficult to use. I don't think there's so much fear about friendly fire so much as it is just Heroes being very active with scouting. You see Hallucinated Phoenixes, you see the Watchtowers. It's going to be difficult to catch him off guard with Widowmines, but a fight is about to ensue. All the Stalkers have been brought here from the main base. Zealots charge to the front lines. Gotta look out for those Widowmines. They're going to feel really bad. Force fields don't do a lot here. In fact, the Force is going to hurt Hero, clumping those Zealots together, forcing them to take more splash damage from said Widowmines. But backing away till hopefully Charge is off cooldown. He can go for round 2. Get that free 8 damage upon that Charge. Impact. These Stalkers have to blink backwards once again. They've got the damage, but they can't really tank the hits. As you can see here, Marauders and Marines just kind of stimming in, stuttering in. Widowmines at the backline coming off a cooldown here too, but the Observer's out here to see them, so picks 1 off, picks 2 off, question mark? Oh, he's gonna use the Hallucination to friendly fire some of the army. That was a clever move. Not good enough, of course, to win the battle outright, but while this goes on, Fantasy's forces are dwindling as well. Defender's advantage here through Warpins, I think it's looking pretty good, pretty promising. New Liberators bring to the front line and present a huge problem now for the Stalkers, who have to prioritize killing these air targets. He does take care of them pretty swiftly, though. If that took 3 volleys instead of 2, this would be a whole nother question, but as the small leftover drop starts getting reinforced, Hero really needs to get some proper reinforcements out. Gateway units are normally fine, and they can take you so far in the game, but without some kind of next-level tech, be it Archons, or Templar Storms, or Immortals, like, he just cannot outplay this Tier 1 tech when you've got the aid of Medevacs to fight against, not to mention these Widowmines too. And the Widow Mines, of course, even if they're only trading out for the Zealots, that's still fine because the Marauders can take a fight against these Stalkers. And while this goes on, both players' economies are kind of just, stinted out on 3 bases. No one's really pushing for a 4th. This is a game all about the army right now. And right now, Hero's army is down to 25, and it's not looking very good for him. The Nexus is at about half health too, so he can't even disengage from the base to take the time to breathe and gather his troops. If he does, he loses the base for it. While this goes on, though, he has slowly snuck out a couple of probes. They have some pylons placed strategically around the map. Doesn't have to be a fast warp in through a warp prism, but if he can start getting some Dark Templar or something mixed in, maybe then he can finally hit the economy of Fantasy's bases. Watchtower over here has no clue about what's going on. However, a medevac drop moving on the map does see this. Fantasy, however, is not going to stop to deal with it. He'll instead stim in some other units and keep pushing that drop towards the main base by the looks of it. He'll also confirm there's no 4th down here at the same time, although one was just taken up here to the upper right. A lot of Stalkers, a lot of Zealots. I think they're just hunting a medevac. They pre-position themselves for any medevacs that will go around the map. And oh, speak of the devil, great predictive skills here at a Hero. That medevac had 2 Widow Mines inside of it, so not devastating, but nicely done. DT's warped in at home, going to start moving across the map too. Looks like this pylon was taken care of. Scan goes in to see what's going on up here. Missile turrets are coming down, and I don't think these DTs are going to get the freebie damage they wanted to. And oh, the Dark Shrine in the main base is found immediately by this drop. We got Ghost coming out next too, and Hero right now has got to get here. He's not going to save the Dark Shrine, but he hopefully could save those forges. I think one of the best things going for Hero right now in the game are probably his upgrades. Sitting here on 2-1, but also, again, Chrono Boost and be able to push these out as fast as possible should he dedicate to it. Fantasy has just started his 2-2. Zealots plus a Guardian Shield are going to be really good. Looks like those DTs that I ignored earlier had managed to sneak into the base after all. Got about 11 SCVs between the 2 of them. I gotta say, nicely done for somebody who hasn't gotten a lot done in terms of economic damage this game, but then again, this game has been more about the army fights and the army units than it has about any amount of workers. 22 SCVs versus 12 probes have died in total. Pair that up here with the 41 Zealots. Oh my god, 41 Zealots, 11 Marauders, 15 Stalkers. I mean, this has just been a devastating game for both, but more for Hero. Ghosts finally enter the fray, but this is where it gets really interesting and weird. Marauders are going to be really good against these Stalkers, and theoretically the Ghosts are good against the Zealots, and EMP is good against all. However, Ghosts are really expensive, and frankly, they don't fight so good in terms of auto attacks. Yeah, they get bonus damage versus light. Nice pickup in that War Prism, saving a unit there from the Liberator, but the Marauders still just push forward and shrapnel those things down with those concussor shells. But getting back to the topic of the Ghosts, EMP, it's a good catch-all. It's going to work on anything. You hit the Zealots, you hit the Stalkers, they lose their shields. Feels good. But there's no Templar, there's no Storms. There's nothing for him to actually strategically get with those EMPs other than the shields. So things like the Immortals, they got their barriers, going to push on through. Stalkers are going to focus down the Liberators, but force the back away once again. And Hero's army supply now 27 to the 80 of Fantasy. Without area of effect damage, I truly don't know if there's a way for Hero to come back in this game. And in fact, I would lean towards even saying no. But dear viewer, it's Protoss, and at any point, Chrono Boost can help you get caught up in a game in a big way. However, still, no Templar archives in sight. Possibly here through the Archons via Dark Templar could work out. They're going to be able to take a lot of hits. They're going to be able to dish out a lot of damage. But with the amount of Ghosts already in play, they're going to get EMP'd. They're going to lose their shields. And I don't think Archons are the way to go for this. It's really tough for Hero, too, because he's got such a massive upgrade lead. Like, he's sitting here on +3 armor, only has +2 is finishing here for Fantasy, and yet he still can't take any of these hits. I do like this in the main base. A couple of Zealots warped in to start picking off things like the add-ons. Tech Labs, Reactors. This can really screw over a Terran player's production, but this is hardly enough to, I think, automatically kill everything up here. He'd need more dedication through that Warp Prism, and he's not going to get it because anything he warp-ins across the map will not be here to defend at home. Big EMP hits the heart of this Protoss army. Great force fields, though, out of Hero. Not sure if that's enough to turn the tides of battle here. Still 38 army supply to 107. +3 armor's done. 2-2 for the Terran. As you see here, he actually forces a pickup. He's going to hold that front line for now, but the sentries are out of juice. There's no Guardian Shield. There's no more force fields. Zealots are pretty dang good, but there's a Widow Mine field waiting for him. Granted, about half of them are on cooldown, but half of them are also half cooled down. So he'll have those available again here very soon. One DT in the mix is chipping away at the Marauders. I like this move quite a bit. If you invest in too many, they get scanned. It's really noticeable, but 1 or 2 is very hard to see. And I got to give it up for Hero. Hero, who's down in such an insane amount of supply, is actually holding on to this ramp for the time being. He's got 5 bases to work with this new one expanded here to the top right. However, I still think that there's just going to be too much out of Fantasy. Widow Mines are a one-shot wonder, and at this point, there's almost enough Widow Mines to trade out 1-to-1 with most of the army units. In fact, there are, with 11 Widow Mines and only less than 11 Stalkers, less than 11 Zealots. This doesn't look good for Hero. I don't know what kind of defense he can pull off to win this game, but it's going to have to be a miraculous one, if at all. Probes do arrest the Marauders slowly here on the right side. Stalkers come back for the fight round 2. Ghost not so good against Stalkers, great against Zealots, so it makes it really tough to choose what units to warp in defensively here, but I think between the Widow Mines and the Liberators, this is looking to be a little too hot and a little bit too much. Retreating northwards with the probes, you could just go to the base you expanded to, but this doesn't solve that army discrepancy problem, even, excuse me, because... well, the army, oh my god, this whole game, it's been brutal for Hero. Just, he's never, ever, at any point in this game, matched Fantasy 1-to-1 with army. And this, dear viewer, is cause and effect of those upgrades. A lot of his emphasis through this economy went to getting out faster tech, but the type of tech he got, again, not area of effect damage, not storms, not Colossus. He didn't have anything that could really mow down a superior army count. You know, your Terran player can have 500 Marines. If they all die in 3 storms, then none of that matters. However, I feel like at this point it's a little too much and it's a little too far gone. Last Hurrah comes in with Stalkers, nice blink micro to the top side. I love that Hero, to me, has already lost this game. He's a dead man walking, he's on borrowed time. There's the GG. Fantasy takes the game. But great micro out of Hero on the defense, seriously.